Hello there and good day to all of you. I welcome all of you to our little study space, to our little educational academy. I'm Dr. Duleen Dharmaratne, and today we are going to talk about something very important. We are going to talk about how to prepare a specifically highly efficient short note to target your exams, to score high marks in your exams, and what we have to do to prepare a specifically efficient short note. So let's think that we are facing our school exams, primary school, high school, or let's say you are facing your university exams, your board exams. Think about it. If you have a proper short note with you, highly specifically and efficiently targeted for your exams, you will be very well off for your exams to score high marks. So the problem, let's focus on the main problem that you are facing. Let's say that you are facing your exams in a week's time, in 4 weeks' time, in a month's time. You have a specific period to study and you study very hard. You stay hungry, you get very less amount of sleep, you try very hard, and what happens in the exam? Your recalling power is very less. You try very hard to recall everything that you study for your exam questions, and you understand the question but you can't recall. You know the answer but you can't specifically generate the answer to get high marks. For this, we have an answer. If you prepare highly efficient exam-oriented short notes to answer your question, answer your exam questions, you will be very well off. You can score high marks in and out, and it won't be a problem never again. So for this, we have a solution. We have a certain pattern to address this issue. So that's why we are going to talk about how to prepare a short note for each and every subject to face your exams, in your school exams, university exams, or your board exams. So this applies to each and every one of you, all around the world, no matter where you come from, no matter which country you are in, and no matter which grade you are studying in, everyone, each and every one of you, you can try this on. So first of all, I need to remind you a few little guidelines before you prepare your short notes. So the number one thing that you have to remember is always make sure that the short note that you are preparing is exactly very short comparing to your specific chapter or the lesson that you're going to study. So you have to keep in mind that you cannot exactly copy and paste. You can't exactly copy the whole subject chapter, the whole lesson, and write it in little words and letters. It doesn't match. It won't be a short note. So most of you all, what you all do is you take your whole paragraph, the whole lesson, the chapter, and write it again in a small book, in a small note, in small letters. So that's not going to be a short note. That won't be effective in your study pattern. So what you have to keep in your mind is it's going to be very small, and you are going to use the most important facts, and you are going to use less and less number of words and letters. It will be a short note then. So another important thing that you have to remember is, let's say, for example, let's think that you are facing an exam and you have to study 9 subjects. You have to study 3 subjects for your board exams. So it can vary. The number of subjects that you might be studying, it can vary. But please remember, for each and every subject you might be preparing short notes. So what you have to do is, for each and every subject, don't prepare separate short notes and keep in separate places. Take a single book. It can be a big book with 120 or 160 pages, with empty pages, of course, that you have to make sure that you prepare, you get that book and you divide it into several parts according to your subjects. So let's say if you're facing 3 subjects and you know the content of each and every subject, and then you can specifically divide that book into 3 separate categories and write your short notes in each category and keep that book with you at all times. So wherever you go, it doesn't matter if you travel in the train or in the metro or in the bus, or wherever you go to a public place or a coffee shop, while having a sip of your coffee, you can take a look at your short notes, because you have all the subjects in one particular book and it is with you. So you don't have to check into several books to check the short notes. So it will be very efficient if you do that, if you follow that guideline. So make sure that you are targeting your exams, you are targeting your specific exams, and keeping that in mind, you will be preparing your short notes. And of course, this is an advice I would like you to follow as a rule. Make sure it is very graphically oriented, that you will be using tables, charts, graphs and mind maps and flow charts to depict your information, because it is a proven scientific fact that the more images, the more pictures, the more graphs and pictorial information that you put into your studies, it will be kept inside your head. It will make a solid foundation in your head in a memory factor. It will be easy for you to recall your information if you keep it, if you store it in a pictorial, informative way. So I would advise you to use graphs, charts, flow charts, mind maps, whatever that comes into your head graphically, so you can draw and do anything in your short notes, and it will be very easy for you to recall everything. So keep that in your mind as well. So let's take a look at the process that we have to follow to make sure that we have an effective way of creating our short notes. Let's take a look at it. So first of all, what you have to do is make sure that you have to read the specific chapter that you're going to make the short note. Take the chapter, take the lesson, and make sure that you read it thoroughly once or twice. Make sure you are reading it once or twice to make sure you are confident with the subject matter. So you can read it once or twice, and then make sure that you have 5 to 10 years worth of past papers. That means if you are targeting an exam and you are preparing the short notes in your lessons, chapters targeting that exams, take past papers from that exam for 5 to 10 years. Go back for 5 to 10 years and take the past papers and keep it in with you. So when you are making short notes, you can read through the lessons and jot down the important points. You can take an idea about the important points. And also you can go through the past papers, and in each and every past paper you can highlight, underline and take note of each and every important question they have asked from that specific lesson that you are studying on. So now you have several ways of taking in information to prepare a powerful and an efficient short note. Now what you're going to do is, you're going to take half sheets, A4 papers, and divide it into 2, 4 parts, or whatever the way you are comfortable with, or take the whole paper as it is, and make sure you, on top of the paper, you put the topic, the lesson topic, the chapter topic, and you assign your short note details, assign your information in a very organized way. So you can use several color pens. You can use the color coding system. That means that you can use several colors to jot down each and every type of information. Let's say when you are reading the chapters, lessons, you highlight and take note of important points. From the lesson points, you can use blue color or black color to jot down the lesson points as important points in your short note. And when you are going through the past papers, you take the important questions that they have asked from that particular lesson, and you use red or yellow or green, another color in your short note to make sure that the past paper questions, past paper important points are jotted down in your short note. So you can use the color coding method that it will be very effective when you recall it, when you go through the short note again, when you refer the short note again, you can see, you can memorize that, you can think of it, this belongs to this category, this I took from the past papers, this I took from reading the lesson itself. So you know where it comes from. So make sure in the short note itself that you underline several important points, highlight points, and also use the boxing method, the circling, encircling methods to make sure all the information are put inside your head in an organized way that you can recall it very well when you need it. So why am I stressing out on the fact that you have to use diagrams, charts, flow charts, mind maps, all these pictorial informative methods? Because our main problem is when we face our exams, when we sit down for exams and when we read through the exam questions, although we have a slight idea about the answer, it can be that we don't even recall the answer. The problem is our memory recall techniques. So the easier way for us to recall our memory, recall the facts, information that we studied, is the pictorial method. So using flow charts, the mind maps, the graphs, charts and the tables, we can easily recall all the information that we studied, and we don't have to break sweat for that. So keep that in mind. I'll explain several incorrect methods, incorrect ways that you are following when preparing a short note. Some of you may be buying short note books from your local boutique, from the bookshop, or from the supermarkets. I don't know, wherever you go, you find short notes for each and every lesson subject. So please don't do that, because you can have all the short notes prepared by someone else for your studies, for your exams, but it won't be familiar with the things that comes and goes inside your head. So if you put an effort to make your short notes by yourself, you will be better off, because you know what you studied, you know what you put through, and you know how to get it out. So that will be very effective, rather than lending out or getting out someone else's short note. So the other fact is, I know for a fact, in our society, most of the girls, females, they tend to put in a lot more work and prepare all these short notes, mind maps, flashcards. But the boys, they are very, very lazy. I'll use the term lazy, because you don't actually do these, you don't actually put in this effort. Only a very few amount of boys actually put in a lot less amount of work to prepare the short notes and everything. So I'll advise you all to make sure that you put in this extra little bit of effort to prepare all these short notes, because it will come in handy when you face your exams. Trust me. And make sure you don't write the whole lesson, the whole chapter in your short notes as well, because that is one of the mistakes, grave mistakes that we are doing when we are preparing a short note. And also, theoretically, you can actually make short notes for subjects like mathematics or English language or your local language. You can actually make short notes for science, history, geography, and such subjects. So make sure that you put in the effort to make short notes for the correct subjects and not for each and everything. So otherwise you will be wasting your time. So with all this valid and important information, I'll be concluding today's lesson. So keep in touch with us. Make sure you like and subscribe our channel. There will be a lot of other advisory video segments brought to you all by our academy. So thank you very much for joining with us. Please like and subscribe. Until next time, goodbye.